Welcome to Course Style. Today, we're looking at a pomade. This time, it's an oil base. It is the Tasmanian Tame Bourbon Shot Heavy Hold Pomade. This is an oil-based pomade, traditional style. So you've got beeswax, petroleum, microcrystalline wax, organic coconut oil, jojoba oil, Kentucky bourbon, vitamin E, and essential oils. So, as far as still petro base, which isn't that all-natural thing that I prefer, still what's nice, it is killer consistent, it has an excellent smell, we'll talk about that. And then most importantly, with the coconut jojoba oil and the essential oils, and of course the vitamin E, it has a lot of really nice conditioning properties to the hair. So that's what we're going to be looking at. As far as the presentation, traditional amber glass jar, a lot of pomades coming in this now. Real simple logos on the front. There's probably 4 different fonts on here. And when I was talking to Quentin about this, I was like, busy label. He goes, yeah, no. But, I mean, it's a really nice, sharp, and look, for a first round, this is better than what a lot of labels look like. Some of these things look like they were drawn by, like, I don't know, your sister or your brother. They just have, like, little labels on the bottom. Real simple stuff. Not as professional, not as sharp. Again, first run product, really nice stuff. How should we say this? A thing that Quentin did when he wanted to make his products first is, he goes, I want to make a Kentucky Proud product. Ding. Kentucky Proud right there. What that means, and you can find out by going to the Kentucky Proud website, is that it is sourced, created, grown, made, whatever, in Kentucky. So everything in this jar, I think maybe outside of the jar, is a Kentucky product, which is kind of nice, right? Now, the other thing that we had to talk about when we're talking about Bourbon Shot is just the product itself. It's that off-white kind of bone white waxy color, right? Super soft. I mean, this stuff, I mean, for a heavy, there's like, this is not hard to get out at all, right? And the scent. Okay. If you've got a bottle of Maker's Mark in your liquor cabinet, go, open it, take your finger, rub a little of the bourbon on the wax, the red wax in the bottle, and then put your nose on it. That's exactly what this smells like. It has that kind of candle wax smell, but then that sweet, woody bourbon. And yeah, of course, that comes from the real bourbon that he puts in every jar. I got pretty nice consistency with it. I mean, this is not degreased hair, but this is pretty clean. And I had, like, absolutely no issue with this, like, lasting for most of the day. I got a little bit of falling later on. And that was probably due to, I had kind of wet hair when I did it, so it killed the hold a little bit that one day. It has been raining the past, like, 4 or 5 days in North Carolina, so it is not nice. A lick about that big. We're going to start with, like in our last video, smaller licks, but better distributed, and that really makes a big difference. Breakdown is no issue at all. I'm not rubbing. This is, hard. This is really simple stuff. And then we'll get it applying. One of the biggest concerns that a lot of people that I talked to had about this pomade at first is, oh my gosh, it's got bourbon smell, it's going to be overpowering or super strong. It's not. Like, it doesn't smell like putting your nose in this, but it smells like bourbon. Like, if you're a bourbon person, you know what that smell is like, right? But no. In this situation, it actually has more of a kind of gentlemanly, woody smell than it has anything else. Second. And then you do get some tack. And a lot of times when you're looking at a product, and trying to get an idea of like what kind of texture it will provide, if you take the actual lick of pomade and just like tap it like this, and you see it start to like thread, I guess I call it. That's where you get all these little edges. They kind of lick up like that. That's just, I mean, I call it threading, and it's going to indicate that you will get some really nice hold, but without it having to be like super hard to scoop or anything like that. I mean, I really think that of all the oil-based pomades I've got, this is probably the only one that behaves like this outside of maybe some of the flagship stuff and the medium oil base from Sheer Revival, the one who knocks. That one has a little bit of this tacky thing to it, and that has a lot to do with the micro wax being used, which is petroleum derivative wax. Which, if you're gonna put petro in a product and not gonna make it all natural, micro wax is definitely one of the easier to use as far as, you know, manufacturing. So if you're looking at a pomade and you're like, I wonder how this will work, I wonder what it'll do for my hair, and you're looking for a really easy to work with product, look for one with micro wax. I mean, as opposed to like soy wax, beeswax, or all the others. Now, I've been concentrating more on the roots. I mean, you can see here, this is like basically no pomade here in the front, and then there's really none back on the top here. But in the center of my head, I'm really trying to make sure that I get good distribution, because I'm going to do a really, you know, straight sharp comb style with this, because just the smell makes me think of like grandpa barbershops, that kind of era or ideal. So for me, I don't want some super new style finger comb or anything like that. I actually want like a nice sharp contour, and we're actually going to look at how to do a contour in this video as well. So now that I did the careful, let's take your hands, go all over, and any leftover pomade you have in your hand, just go ahead and rub it off. Okay. Let's go ahead and get to washing. Now, as far as the control and slickness, it has it. The greasiness is there without looking or feeling greasy, and then you definitely have the control is good. It's not stellar. Like, this is not going to, for someone who has like a really difficult to style hair, this is probably not, when you see heavy on the jar, this is probably not what you're thinking. And that's another thing that Quentin and I were talking about. I was like, it says heavy, but it's really not all that heavy. Like what you know, the modern day we think of as heavy. I mean, this is not like a heavy in the way that it's difficult to scoop, but it's not a medium in that it's like almost just like you put it in your hand, it just like melts like a light will. No, nothing like that. And the shine, it actually has a good amount of shine. It's probably, for my pretty much dry hair, probably a step above neutral. I mean, I have this reddish brown hair, so it's going to show shine or lack of shine pretty easily. It's not like black hair, which looks dull with any pomade in it pretty much, because usually people with darker hair, at least the ones I know, tend to use a product that has lots of wax to tame waves and get a style that will stick, and they like a higher shine. I don't mind shine. I don't dislike shine. I think depending on the style and the product, like, I like all of it. So I'm not the guy that says, oh, I hate shiny products, or I hate dull products or matte finish products. It doesn't really matter to me. I think each individual product is going to have its accolades, and with Bourbon Shot, it has that neutral shine, so it's not going to be distracting on the hairstyle, right? Okay, so we're going through with the fine tooth comb. You can see that there is a little bit of pull. It's not bad. So that's your heavy kind of characteristic. But you can already see, like, as far as just on the slick back side of things, this is definitely giving a very tight shape, very, very, you know, close to the crown and close to the sides. And that's important. You do want, I think, an oil-based product to give you that, unless it's a light or a hairdressing. I think it's important to have that much greasiness and that much control, because it's really, if you need it, going to provide you with a more lasting or a more controllable or easy to style. Alright, so I think we are good and clean. Now, our very first video was how to find your part. How to just generally comb your hair, really. I didn't mind the video. I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was as informative as can be. It was just my older video equipment. This isn't the best video equipment, but we're still going to do that here. Now, everything is slicked back, or at least for the sake of going to style next, slicked back. Well, you're reviewing bourbon shot, you might as well drink bourbon. After you're done pulling everything back, take the fine-tooth side of your comb, take your hand on your part side. You probably should know which side this is. Depending on your haircut, it's going to be one side or the other. If you have an asymmetrical cut, which is what I think I'm going to transition to, it actually doesn't matter where you part it. And if you're a person that's been trying to get more height or more volume, blow drying your hair and then parting it on purpose on the wrong side, for me it's my right side, you'll get like probably 3/4 to double the volume on that side, because the hair is usually trained to fall this way, and then it's going to get a lot more volume because the roots are trained to go in this direction. Now you're putting the roots in this direction, and it'll really lift everything right up off the top of your head. Now, take your hand, start to go back here, and sometimes, depending on your cut, you will see parts of it lift. You see this right here? It's lifting. And that is usually, or at least how my girl cuts it, that is where your haircut is going to give you your part. Now, in the traditional sense, some people use rat tail combs. I don't prefer them. For me, the rat tail comb, actually, it's funny, for me the rat tail comb ends up, especially the metal ones, rusting in my DOP kit in my toilet bag before I ever have a chance to really use it. And you saw me, I messed it up at first. So here, I pulled it again, I'm going a little farther down towards my ear, and now I'm getting that sharp line. So, pull, find it with your fingers, take your comb to your short side, dig in the comb like just outside of the part, and pull to the other. The reason I say just outside of the part is because if you aren't careful, you'll start pulling the hairs from the short side. Alright, and then what's nice is, after you find it, it's actually really easy to just keep walking your fingers back and keep dividing the hair. And then once you get about 3/4 of the way back, towards the very back of your head, like right here, just stop actually pulling the part and start to let your hair transition down to what's on the back of your head. And there we go. Now, outside of describing to you how I was doing this, that did not take long at all. Even if I had picked it actually right the first time, it didn't take long at all. So, as far as control and the slickness of the bourbon shot, it's really decent. It's holding a pretty nice style without me having to mess with it too much. So, I just leave all this like this because I need to get my sides straight, because we're going to deal with all of this business on the top in just a second. Okay, so, there we go. Back, nice and taken in on both sides, and then the top, ready to style the part, sharp and ready. Okay, so the next step with the Bourbon Shot pomade to do a contour is take all the hair and comb it away from the part side nice and straight. Now, when it comes to contour, it is such a traditional hairstyle, and depending on your cut, there are probably 3 or 4 different ways to do it. This is the way that I do a contour because none of my hairstyles are actually the exact versions, like my pompadour isn't a pompadour, my contour isn't my contour. They're my versions of it that work with my hair. So for my contour, I'm not going to use a wide tooth, I'm not going to use a pick, I'm just going to use the same exact comb. The cool thing about a contour is I think it's one of those styles, it's one of those shapes that you can redo like at work or while you're out of the house with a pocket comb. You don't even have to have like a 2-size teeth comb. You can just do it with pretty much anyone. And it's easy to correct. So if you're trying out a pomade for the first time, or if you're a reviewer like me and you've got so many of these darn things to get through, sometimes all you have is a pocket comb. I mean, I keep a small pick and a small pick and a full-size comb in my work bag, but I don't take them out that often because restyling your hair in the men's room at your office with a bright pink pick is good conversation for the conference table. So, everything under here is still going in this direction. This, I just started using the wide tooth, just because I felt like it, and just started pulling it back. Taking my hand and smoothing, taking my hand and smoothing. Every once in a while, pull it away from the part side to get the texture in, or the height in this case, and then go ahead and pull it over. Now when you're first obviously doing this here, this is a good little tip to show. When you have it all like this, and you start lifting up the front, and then going over to the sides here and getting that, and then just taking your hand and pulling it over, you have like this funky wave thing right here. Good way to correct that, take the wide tooth side, place it just about a 1/4 inch away from the part, and just pull back. So there is my take on the contour style with Bourbon Shot. And then usually, because I like a little bit of height and a little bit of that classic pompadour feel, I'll go in here and start to pull some of this up. But I don't want a super amount of height, so I take my hand after I pull it up, and I kind of just give it a good little press and push to get the hair to define its wave a little bit, because I really like how a wave looks in hair. I mean, I like how my top here has this curl towards the back. I think that's sharp. Alright. I mean, that's a few minutes, and for what's labeled as a heavy hold pomade, we're done. Touch up the sides a little. Seriously, finished. Decent amount of shine. I mean, this is not the best lighting, but you can still see that's more shine than like our Port City water-based pomades. Those gave us I mean, there was shine, but it was pretty matte overall, because once the water in any water-based pomade starts to evaporate, all what's left over is the wax, and that can, obviously wax is not a shiny ingredient, so it's going to dull. As far as hardness, this does not harden up at all. It is totally rewashable, pardon me, totally restylable. Washing out, for the 2 or 3 licks that I did, it's probably going to take you a good 2 or 3 shampoos, or again, as mentioned, do what I do, either use the moist version of the conditioner from, what's the purple one? The one with the kangaroo on it. You know what I'm talking about, this one. Aussie, yeah, that one. Sorry. Yeah, the Aussie moist version of the conditioner. Don't even necessarily soap it, just use that. Overall, I had a good experience with Bourbon Shot. I do wish that the scent was either a little more layered. Like, this pretty much smells like bourbon and wax to me. I mean, there are layers, like you can smell other things in there, but it's not, you don't smell it and go, holy crap, I want to put this in my hair every day. although I'd like to, it's not bringing me to it. Like, I look on my shelf and I've got different ones to choose from, and I don't say, oh my gosh, I can't wait to use Bourbon Shot. Despite I did say that the past couple days when I was doing the review. That smell is killer, though. I really do like it. I'm a bourbon fan, but I mean, I might like to see top labels. I think top labels look really sharp, as opposed to not having them. You know, I mean, tins usually will have a top label, but like your jars, like traditional jars, I think look good with the top label like that. I like that. You know, it lines up real nice. And the fonts, I mean, I wish some of that got cleaned up and there's not 3 or 4 different fonts on one jar. I mean, 1, 2, 3, and then you've got back here 4, right? Pardon me. Build-up quality. It's there. The wax is... I mean, obviously wax doesn't evaporate, but it does, like, go away from me, some of the hold. So probably by, like, my 3rd day of build-up, I start to not have to use less pomade. Like, on my 3rd day, that's when I'm starting to have to use almost as much to get my style back. So usually by then, I'm looking to degrease my hair fully rather than just wash it. And then, just in general, I've styled more of a loose shape with it. It came out great. I've styled more of a like contour like this with it. Went great. The one thing I did not get a good style with this was when I went to... What did I do that day? Oh yeah, I tried to get super, super height, and even with a fully blow-dried after shower hair, like I blow-dried it and just combed in height as I was blow-drying, it didn't hold it. It wasn't friendly. This stuff actually is really better with damp hair. I mean, I did pretty much almost dry hair here, but it was really better with almost damp hair. I had better results with some of that water just helping to spread out some of the pomade that you're doing in your applications, because it tended to do that sticking thing, like you get your hands in and then it's all gone, like the whole lick is in the front of your face where you just put it all. And then sometimes I do with this product have some flyaways, like you can see these right here, right? And then a lot of times you see me fix them throughout talking on the video like this. Sometimes I do have to go in and fix them, or if I just get frustrated with them, I grab them down and put them on the other side of the part. That's another thing, little tips on parting. If you have ones that are licking up and down, that hair just has not been trained yet. So sometimes no matter what pomade you're using, you need to just get in there and pick your battle with your hair, right? So, this has been Coarse Style. That's the Tasmanian Tame Bourbon Shot, available directly from the Tasmanian Tame Etsy, which I will put in the link box below. Also available on Hedgelion. Tadashi on Hedgelion has Bourbon Shot as well, which is great that, you know, such a small production product is available to us with free shipping on something like Hedgelion. But if you want to get some Kentucky in your hair, get some bluegrass in your locks, this is a great way to do it. He's a cool dude. Quentin, meaning he has a water base on the way, which I am very excited about. The holiday water base was a special version scent-wise, but it was apparently final hold and final structure for the product, and I'm excited about that because it worked really well for my hair. I got super shape, excellent flow to it. My hair really was able to be itself without being held in, you know? Yeah, so go pick up some Bourbon Shot. Quentin's a great dude. Message him on Etsy. Get in touch with him if you have any questions. He's always happy to answer them. Like, subscribe, stay greasy.